Hello and welcome to Big Bandit Gaming. I'm your host Troy, and today we have Colton.
That's me.
Josh.
Boy.
Izayah.
I thought homebrewing would be easy.
And Victoria.
Yo.
Izayah thought he was going to get free Netflix or something. I don't know what that was about. Izayah, what are you trying to homebrew?
My Wii. I'm finally homebrewing the Wii. I'm pretty much
Nice.
nearly done. I just need to put games on it, but that's a struggle right now.
Do you do that through the SD slot?
So I tried it, and then I was like, no, I'll just use my USB. And then I found out flash drives get corrupted from homebrewing. So I had to format the flash drive. And I did it again, and then it corrupted again. So I'm taking a break.
Back to the drawing board.
It really does feel like that.
Back to formula. All right. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Oh,
How are
good.
you
Very
doing?
It's good. I've had almost a 2-3 week vacation. It's been wonderful.
Whoop whoop.
I've been able to play games. I've been going swimming at our new place's swimming pool. It's been very good. Binging anime that Sam loves that I've not seen. It's been a good time. It has been a great time. So yeah, I've actually been able to play some games for this gaming podcast.
Nice.
Nice.
Starting
Nice.
to get wet
Essential.
over here.
So how are you guys doing? Did you guys get anything cool for Prime Day? Anything like that?
Oh, that happened?
Oh, yeah, like
It
three
sure
weeks
did.
ago or something.
No, I did not. No.
I
Well-
got something.
What'd you
What'd you
got
get?
something? What'd you
I
get?
got something. I got a Kindle Paperwhite that I'm very excited about. I already have probably about 100 books on that thing. I'm super pumped. It's very beautiful. I got a case for it and everything. I feel so
yeah.
cute. Yeah. And then
Okay.
I guess we also got Colton
Something even cooler.
PS5. I don't know.
They got a 2 terabyte internal SSD thing for it finally. So
How much
the
was that?
second I got that, it was on sale for 100.
Man, that's
No.
crazy.
Oh yeah, it was on sale for 100, right, Victoria? What was
I
it
think
on
it was
sale?
like 89 something.
Oh yeah, it was close to it. Anyway,
Oh,
it's 2 terabytes, and I was like, that sounds like a good deal. And I'm tired of deleting games off this PS5 like once a week. So,
Oh yeah.
You already have so much space, though.
Not
What do you
enough.
mean? Oh, well, I have the external hard drive that I have plugged up to the PS5, but that's for all my PS4 stuff. Yes. So
Yeah,
I do have space, but it's not like,
No, but you can store PS5 games on there.
I
and
know,
just
but then
transfer
they're not
them over.
readily playable,
Well,
and sometimes they take longer to download than I want them to. And,
I'm with you. I
you're
like the
crazy.
idea of just press a button. It's all there. That's why
it's been
on my
nice so far.
Switch. I have had one physical game on my Switch ever,
Ever.
and then I sold it.
Oh my god! It was. What was,
I guess.
what was it?
It's fine. It was oh god, Cruisin'. No, yeah. I forget the Cruisin' Blast. Yeah.
Wow.
Cruisin'
Okay.
Blast on Switch. It's a great game. But I just figured, hey, I could sell this, probably get it on sale digitally at some point. So that's off topic. Yep. So the okay. What I was gonna say, Victoria,
Wait,
guys, I want you guys to just confer with me on this. Sometimes isn't the best thing about getting a new piece of electronics is buying a case for it. I don't know what it is
No,
about
I
it.
spent so much
Yeah.
time looking for a case. I initially had a plan out. I was gonna get a cute case and put stickers on it and get a pop socket. And then Colton's like, "Well, why don't you get one of them cases that fold?" And I'm
What are
like,
you talking
"I'm
about?
not an old man."
She called me an old person because I was like, well, if you're not going to get the glass screen protector, I think you should definitely get a case that, folds over and has a little magnet, to keep it shut.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to drop that thing, and that little plastic screen protector is not going to stop that thing from shattering.
You're not gonna get a screen protector?
No,
Okay.
she did, but she couldn't find like one of the glass ones that does the that gives it like that really nice matte look. They're all like glossy covers.
Sure.
Oh,
we
yeah.
couldn't find a glass one.
I actually had a lot of trouble finding like a tempered glass thingamajig. I thought I ordered a 3-pack. I thought I found one that was matte, and then it came in, and Colton was installing it, and it was bending, and I was like, "That's not glass."
That's no mood.
I'm just assuming at this point that they don't exist. I don't know. I couldn't find it on Amazon, which really sucks. But I do for sure want it like matte.
Yeah, if you're going to use it for reading, you want it to.
It has like a plastic cover on it. I thought it was going to be glass, but here we are.
She had the audacity to say, "No, I'm not getting one of those old people cases that fold over the screen."
Colin's like, why don't you clip it to your belt?
Yeah, that's essentially what she accused me of saying.
Could you imagine? I'd be all for that. Just get my Kindle off my belt.
Well, I don't know. What he said started getting to me, and I was like, "Oh crap! I'm gonna drop this thing." Like,
yeah,
I was like,
I know you will.
I know this thing is not gonna live a good life.
I'm just trying to help you in your.
So So one of the things I really wanted was I wanted a pop socket so that I could hold it right, like while I'm reading. So I went and I was like, okay, maybe I can find a cute foldy case. And I found one, and it's like the perfect case. And it's like really cute. It's got like constellations on it. But when you like open it, it does have like the fold thing. When you open it, it has these little things like you can put your hand in to hold it. And it has it on both sides.
Little straps.
Yeah, they're like little straps you can put your hand through to hold it. And then if you don't want to hold it, it has a kickstand. So it's like, wow, we could do so much. Like,
wow, you really could pull like a hot pan out of an oven with that.
I know. I was like, man, look at this thing. And it protects the screen from my wild, behaviors.
From the inevitable drop.
What I do is that if I know an electronic's coming in or the day of, I'm like, wow, okay, I gotta find a case for this thing. Even though it's like never gonna leave my desk and I know it never will, I'm like, gotta get a case in case I move in 3 years.
Right. I know I'm gonna be moving with this thing though. Like I know I'm gonna be putting it in my backpack, going to work with it and stuff, and putting it in my purse. So then I was like, that's when it was getting to me, like what he was talking about with the little folding thing. And
well,
I was like, I guess
this isn't a segue, but and maybe at the beginning of 2024, we'll all be looking into screen protectors and cases because there's been another big Switch 2 rumor. I don't know at this point. I don't know at this point
know either.
But it's out there. There's another I think it's the people that manufacture like Joy-Cons, like Joy-Con chip for Nintendo.
Yeah, in China, right?
Yeah, they're saying like a new Nintendo thing's coming out like 2020, beginning of 2024. But I don't know. It feels too good to be true at this point. So
I want it to be
we'll see.
bad.
I know.
I need it to be.
I want October to come, and I want a trailer for a Switch 2, please.
Yeah,
that'd be really nice.
And it'd be March, like perfect. It'd be perfect. It'll just launch on the same month as the first Switch did.
Yeah, no, exactly. That is like the perfect scenario. But all right, Josh, sorry, we cut you off there.
Oh, what?
I don't know. You're like, wait. I have something. I'm like, wait, cases.
It's kind of like you wanted to ask Victoria something, but
I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, you forgot. Can I talk about?
I do. I got potato skewers, or just skewers, but I'm gonna put potatoes on them.
Oh,
well, you can put anything on skewers, right?
But I'm gonna use them for potatoes.
Potatoes?
You get a sword, a skewer.
Yeah, but I got like little swords.
I like that.
It sounds better when you say little swords.
Like
I bought little swords off of Amazon.
There you go.
Because I've seen those for like letter openers,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question. When you're on Amazon and like, did you search potato skewer?
No, I know. I just searched skewer. And I got little sauce cups.
Oh, like a ramekin?
Yeah. It came up as a ramekin, and I was like, "What the crap's a ramekin?"
Just
I
like a
got a little
normal
sauce
like
cup.
kitchen tool is a ramekin.
Yeah, I got little metal dipping cups.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Pretty
I
nice.
almost where were we? Like very recently me and Colton went out somewhere and I almost jacked the ramekin. And I was like, I really want this. And I was like,
That nice.
we need some of
Dude,
these.
you know what?
Was it Chili's? Was it those little blue ones? I get it.
No, was it Chili's? Oh, it was a cafe in town. And I was like, I want to take this home. I was like
Just get them off Amazon. They're actually super affordable.
I imagine so, considering like what they are.
Mhm.
I just haven't made the actual sacrifice, I was
Yeah.
but I was more than willing to steal one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the only thing I got off Prime, Sam got a bunch of stuff for the house, like a big old mirror, like a bunch of like just like moving in items. But the only thing I got is like this cardboard. I call it garbage for my cat, and that was it because it was like $4 off, and I was like, sweet.
More
That was
garbage
it.
for Frisbee.
That was it.
Oh, is it that little X thing that she likes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's
She's like,
she loved
yeah.
it. Yeah, it was like new one. Oh yeah. Isaiah, what's up?
I didn't have a Prime Day. I had the summer sale for Steam, which I've been counting down the
nice.
days for. I bought just 2 games, FNAF VR and Half-Life Alyx, which is a game I've always wanted to play because it's on VR. Very inaccessible for like a long time Half-Life fans. Like a VR is like a much more expensive hobby than like just gaming hobby. Like a VR is expensive. Any one you buy, unless you buy an old one like me, which got it for free, and it's a Rift. So like one of the first like VR
Ooh,
headsets
like an
for like
OG
Steam.
Oculus Rift.
Yeah,
Nice.
like so it's been really fun. I really enjoy these games. I think people should play these games.
Does the original Oculus Rift controllers, does that work with Half-Life Alyx? Like, does it
Actually,
have the finger
yes.
tracking and stuff?
There is a great video showcasing several different headsets and controllers that are used for Half-Life Alyx, and Rift is one of those headsets and controllers that work perfectly fine. Sure, you only really have your index and thumb to really work with.
Right.
I mean, you're not really ever mandatory using like your other fingers. Like the index is like one of like the toppest notch controllers on the market for VR, but like let's be real here, how often are you going to use the full compatibility of all fingers in like
Most
any
games don't,
VR
yeah.
game? Exactly. Not a lot of them like cater to it.
Yeah.
Cool,
Well, you know what, Isaiah? That is a great segue because I got a PSVR 2.
No. What?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
way.
That's my new thing.
How?
How? Okay. So on Facebook Marketplace, which is where I just literally get everything these days,
Yeah.
I saw a ad for a PS5 and a PSVR 2 for $700, like bundled together. And I was like, oh, that seems cheap for those two things together.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I messaged the guy. I'm like, I wonder if he'll sell it to me. And I asked him, can I get that? Will you sell the headset separately? And he said, yeah, 300. And then I didn't see it right away. And then he's like, 250. I was like, I will be there tomorrow. Oh yeah, I got a PSVR 2. When I picked it up from the guy, I gave him the 250. When I picked it up to him, he's like, yeah, I used it like twice. So It's in perfect condition.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a freaking steal. Because I looked up later like what they're running for used, and most of the time it's still like, like 450, something like that.
Do you just get the headset, or do you get the controllers with it?
Oh no, the headset and the controllers. Like
Okay,
the whole thing. All the wires are good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, this is my first headset, VR headset I bought. I decided to hold off on the original PSVR because I used it a couple times at people's houses, and I was like, because before that I'd use like a what was it, like a Vive, and the tracking on that was really good because that was the older ones where you had to use the cones in the room and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
that's why you do too.
Yeah. And those worked really well, and the wands on the PlayStation VR and the way it looked and everything. I was like, the field of view. I was just like, man, I don't know if I can spend like 300 to 400 on this thing.
Right.
And then by the time they were affordable, the PSVR2 was like on its way, or So this is my first headset. I immediately for Sam I got Beat Saber.
Good call.
My favorite. So okay. I'm just gonna run down kind of what I've played on it, and then if you guys have any questions about it, like fire away. I'll talk about the headset real quick. Actually, let me start with the headset. So headset was really cool. The thing that I didn't think that would strike me as much, but I'll say the haptic feedback and the triggers and everything makes so much more sense in VR.
That's cool.
Just for the games that actually use it. Like all the grabbing functions, like anything, and the headset actually has haptics too, which is pretty noticeable in most games. When you have like a bullet going by your head, you'll feel it like travel through. Like when you've like dodged it and stuff. It's really cool.
Dude, super hard VR with that is gonna be insane.
Yeah, and it does
God.
all the newest stuff. Like what I didn't expect is when I plugged it in, it actually gives you like a new setup menu with like a different music than I've ever heard in the PS5 like system music,
Whoa.
But it does all the stuff. It does like room scale, it does standing, it does sitting. It kind of scans the entire room for objects and kind of creates a barrier around it. So it's, like I said, it's just like all very like up-to-date VR stuff. It's really nice in that way. It looks amazing. Only problem I'm running into is just wearing it with my glasses. I probably need to you can buy special lenses that are prescription that you can pop in them. So I'm going to look into that.
Very common problem. My own friends, when they come over and they play VR, they're like, "Oh, I got to my head. I got to either loosen this thing or I got to take my glasses off." Even Colton does it. Thankfully, Colton's like able to see better, but not my friends. Like they have like much worse eyes. So that's like a biggest caveat with it.
Yeah, if you're, it's the type of thing where I can't see things far away, and so VR tricks my eyes into think they're looking, in distances, so I can tell it's way blurrier without it. But I can fix that. Otherwise, it's been awesome. The standout games for me is Pistol Whip, which is like a mix between Super Hot and Beat Saber. So you're like shooting guys in time with the music.
That's cool.
Like on a track, but you have like it's like a standing game where it tracks your movement. So you're like dodging bullets, you're ducking, you're stepping side to side. You have like two guns, and the tracking is like friggin' amazing. The music's awesome. So that, and then Moss. Moss is a game I wanted to play back when the original VR came out, but oh my god, it's so adorable. It looks amazing in that. Awesome. I think the biggest wow moment for me was seeing Sam play Moss, where it plays what she's kind of seeing on the screen, and I saw her play and I was like, oh man, this looks cool, this looks cute. It just kind of looked like a almost what it is, like a Zelda like set thing. And then I finally turned on the game, put the VR headset on, and I was like blown away. It is like, it's hard to explain unless you play it, but all the environments just it tricks your brain into making it think like it's super realistic, like materials, and it's really awesome. So yeah,
looks
so
really
far
cute.
Pistol Whip, Moss. I tried Tetris Effect, tried Resident Evil Village, got super sick because I just went to the full hey, give me full control and motion and all this other stuff, and I was it about killed me.
I have a question. I remember when they were talking about what I think the first time they were giving out specs of the headset and little details, they talked about having a little vent to that way it doesn't get hot and muggy while wearing is that something you notice, or is that just if it's working, then you're not going to notice it, because you're not going to feel.
I think I noticed it. The fact I haven't thought about it means it's probably working, because I remember other VR headsets will steam up my glasses.
Yes. Yeah.
And stuff. And I have not had that problem at all. There's cool. I have it in front of me. There's a what it is there's a double flap. So there's where you put your nose in, there's a cutout and a flap, and then there's another flap. So it kind of hides your nostrils between two barriers and then vents downward.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
that I think that's what it's talking about. But yeah, I have zero problem with fogging or anything.
That is
That's great.
Yeah.
wow. That one's awesome.
One
'Cause, like,
thing-
we do have that problem
Yeah.
as well.
That's one thing I don't like. I think
Yeah.
it gets really annoying. It gets hot in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
'cause, like,
No. Yeah.
if you do sweat pretty badly already, like my buddy, I won't say his name, but like when he came over recently, he
Your
got done with the
sweaty
VR
friend.
headset. Yeah, he got done with like playing FNAF VR. He's like, okay, he goes, yeah, I feel that thing. That shit's soaked in, bro. I had to be like, oh my god, it's a sponge. It's a sponge. It is a sponge.
So that is the nice thing about the material too. None of it is spongy or absorbent. It's all like kind of this rubbery outside, so
like
it's
easy
pretty
to
easy,
clean and
easy to wipe
wipe down.
down.
Nice.
It doesn't.
That's good.
Nothing
Yeah.
absorbs. I did notice that the you know how in other VR headsets, if you looked from side to side, you can kind of see the light bleed. You know,
Kind of,
like
yeah, I think
corners
so.
and stuff. This headset does a really good job. It is like super immersive in that way, where it kind of like covers a good, like way more of your view than the original PSVR did, and it really can. It really like hides the light really well.
I think the coolest part about like
yeah,
that
it's cool.
specifically is like the eye tracking and how it's able to like
Yes.
focus the graphics and like everything loading with your eye movement rather than the entire environment. So you
So
don't
that
really
is, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's. Are you talking about the foveated rendering?
I think so.
Where- yes. So what it does is to make games run better and look better, and have good performance in VR. This headset will track where your eyes are looking at. Like there's a little
Right.
camera inside, and anywhere you're focusing on, it'll boost. It'll kind of boost the graphics in that area, and it'll blur the periphery, so it knows what you're looking at. And that helps it save like on performance and just makes the games run and look a lot better.
Right.
So it's cool. A lot of little stuff like that. It's like super fancy, which is nice.
I feel like that's
Um,
really necessary for like any other like VR headset. Because is that really like the first of its kind doing that?
No.
Okay.
Other headsets have done that, but they're usually like on the higher end where you were still paying
Right.
like $800, $1,100.
Yeah.
So nice thing about this is, yeah, it's taking like those super premium VR headsets and putting all that tech in and just making it like plug and play with the PS5. The see-through mode is really awesome, like because it has cameras all over it.
Oh yeah,
So,
I forgot
like,
about that.
Yep, you don't have to take it off. You hit a
Oh.
button under the headset, and your controllers like glow, so you can like find your controllers and kind of resituate
Very
yourself.
Apple VR thing. Not
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
weird.
So, but yeah, and it'll show you like you're getting too close to your barriers. So, yeah, I this isn't the biggest area up here, but I just push my desk away, make like a circle barrier, like kind of just the one that you can just plop down, and like just doing standing VR stuff works really well in my area. And it has little earbuds that are built in that you can just kind of clip into your ears, or do it. It's the normal stuff. But yeah, I was just really impressed on how seamless it was to connect it all to the PS5 and get it running.
My question is, how long is that cord? Is that cord long enough for you in your play
Ooh,
area?
Yes, yeah, by far. In fact, like you've seen my desk. If you
Yes.
walk about like, let's say like if I was standing about 6 feet away from my monitor, 6 to 8 feet, you would still have run to like put the cord in your pocket so you're not stepping on it. So
Cool.
it's a
That's
really
cool.
long cord. Only thing I'm worried about
You're
is
like not very manageable.
it's
or
not
is it-
it's not detachable, which makes me nervous
Ooh.
when stuff does that. Or
Oh.
you know what? I'm looking at it now. Maybe this thing. Maybe you can't buy a replacement cable. Now that I'm looking at it, does it come out? Now I'm just polling on this. Okay, well, I haven't had any trouble with the cable. It's manageable. It's a single cable, so there's no breakout boxes. It just goes into
Nice.
that little USB-C on the front of the PS5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been really happy with it so far. Of course, like I said, Pistol Whip is a standout Moss. I played some Tetris Effect in it. I tried the Resident Evil 8 Village demo. There's like a
Almost
Star
tried.
Wars Galaxy demo, which was And then I tried like a tennis game, but there's a few other ones I wanna try out still. So yeah, it's been a good time. I got a really good freaking deal on it, which is the main reason I got it. Especially for the condition it's in. So I just got super lucky. So yeah, it's awesome. It's my first kind of VR headset. So
of course, you got it after we leave Arizona.
Yeah.
I know exactly. I was like, oh man, I could have. Next time people are all over, I'll be like, hey, check this out. But yeah, it's super cool. So I just really hope that Sony keeps supporting it. Because I know a lot of people are just like, I haven't touched it since I reviewed it, blah blah blah. And I'm looking, and there is a decent amount of like upcoming games, but I would love them to like port, Alex, Half-Life Alex on it.
Yeah, make this more
the
accessible.
Astrobot games. Like it doesn't even have like super hot VR, just stuff like that. I'm just like, I sure hope that that other people will port their older VR stuff to it, and that studios just keep pumping some cool stuff out. Because I'm excited to go into like Moss 2, and there's a few like Kayak VR, and there's another game where I think it used a webcam before, but it's VR now, where if you blink, the story goes forward.
Yes. Oh, before your eyes.
Yes. So that's on PSVR 2.
Please play that, bro.
Okay, so I actually started that on Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
I was actually enjoying it, and it was surprisingly accurate. Like I was just looking around
camera.
on my phone, and I'm like progressing the story, depending on where I look, and that was actually kind of a cool. I didn't finish it, but it was cool.
Yeah, because of the cameras inside the PSVR helmet, that all works within VR, and I've heard it's really good in there. So that is one I'm gonna buy and download. So yeah, there's just like a lot. What I figured out so far is I think I'm more interested in like the more unique experiences that VR gives, more than just like I don't necessarily think I want to play an entire Resident Evil game in VR. That sounds tiring. Even though it's really immersive and cool, like you're opening your jacket, pulling out flashlights, like hand loading bullets into your gun and cocking them.
You can dual wield bullets too, dual wield the guns as well.
It's crazy, yeah. Like that demo was really wild. Even though I messed myself up because I didn't put the camera movement. I didn't do snap. I did like free movement, and oh boy, I don't think I can do that. So now I know. I almost died. But yeah, so that is I got a PSVR 2. It's very cool. I would just say, like, I don't blame anyone for still, like, for at that price to play the waiting game still, because it's so expensive, brand new, and it's not like there's like 1,000 big games on it, But having it, I appreciate it, and it's just like a really cool piece of tech, especially with all like the haptic stuff built in, like that stuff that other helmets and controllers aren't quite doing even. So there's some like really nice, super high tech stuff happening in that thing. So yeah, sweet. All right, guys. Are we ready to move into our games?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. There is a specific game on here that's on most of our lists. So why don't we just jump straight into it? Diablo 4. So Diablo 4 came out like a month ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I know we got into it like 2 weeks after, I think.
Yeah.
So, probably a month, yeah.
So what pushed you guys to like jump into it? What kind of like drew you? Because I know, Colton, you'd played some of the mobile game before, but besides that, I know Josh has played Diablo 3, but what about you guys? What kind of made you pull the trigger on that?
The co-op, I think. I really wanted to play with people. Like, I wanted another game to play with people. Because the new season of Fortnite, I didn't really like the look of it, so... So I needed something else.
I didn't like the look of it. Yeah. And I think that is like Diablo's strength for sure, is like how smooth the drop in, drop out co-op is. What do you guys think of it? Because I have some thoughts.
I really like it.
So far, I do enjoy it. There are like little things that, as a new Diablo player, you kind of have to, we kind of have to learn, and certain things that I feel like might not be the most intuitive, I think. But
like what?
I don't know, like to play like the new season stuff. not that I would want to do it before starting the campaign or before finishing the campaign, but I heard that you have to play the new season stuff. It wants you to finish the campaign first before getting into like the newer stuff. And I guess I don't think I've ever played a game where like it's super like common just to like keep creating new characters and stuff. And I know that that's like a big draw to the game, and it just seems weird to me. I mean, so many people like it for that, so I'm sure that like most people are, like it for a reason. So I'm sure I will also enjoy that part at some point. It's just hard to wrap my head around sometimes, but I'm just along for the ride, and then I will do the whole character swap, or not character, character like refresh whenever I'm supposed to, and I'm just going to see how I feel about it.
Yeah, and that's not even necessarily a Diablo thing. That's like a specifically like Diablo 4 thing.
Yes, yeah, okay, and I've also heard that too. That it's more with this game than the other ones.
Yeah, because 1 through 3 were not like live service, or
3 turned into it eventually, but it was several years after the fact.
Yeah, and they were able to like dip their toe into it, little by little. Where this
it also didn't cost you like more money if you wanted like cosmetics or whatever.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying though, Colton. That stuff, it's not explained very well in that way. Sometimes it kind of reminds me of Destiny, where you're like, you come in, you're like, did I miss like an entire tutorial, or I wish you would explain what this.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like Destiny, like because you're also jumping into Destiny. Do that? I felt like I jumped into like I felt like I was like I jumped into a senior class and I'm a freshman or something, like
like you did like a big level skip or something.
Yeah. I had a little bit of trouble with Destiny for the same reason.
Yeah.
It really helps to play with people who are familiar with the game and like its mechanics and how it works.
It's similar to, again, like you say, you compare it to Destiny. Like it's like that big, like massive multiplayer game that like has a lot of like in-depth mechanics. It's the same kind of like run of the mill of like Monster Hunter fans from Old World and New World. Like it's the same way. It's nice having someone who knows around and like can just guide you, and slowly you get like the swing of things as well. And I do like that. My big question is that I've never been a Diablo guy. Never. I've always heard about it. I've always been aware of its impact on like gaming culture. But looking at it now and like really like just like trying to analyze the gameplay, Troy, I'm a Supergiant fan, same as you. Would you compare it to Supergiant games? Like that kind of style of the top down?
That's the only
I would
similarity.
I was gonna say I think Bastion was like a Diablo light.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
A lot of Bastion's inspiration it actually comes from Diablo 2 and 3 more than likely, or probably 2 at that point.
Right.
But I mean it's that type of game. When you say like it's like a loot game, like overhead loot game, like there's a lot of games that have done Diablo now. It's not like its own like thing. It's just Diablo for some reason does it just a little bit better than most other people trying to copy it. But for me, I mean, I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying the game when I play it. I think its strength is like its biggest weakness for me too. Is I like the fact that it's so easy to jump in and out with other players, and it like level scales everyone. So it's not like one person's getting one hit and just like one person on the team that's 5 levels above is just like doing all the work.
I found that to not be true actually. I ended up playing with my dad who was level 65 and I was level like 45. And he was able to just melt everything that I was having. Like, I was constantly dying to, and I was like, Dad, please help. He came in and he defeated a boss that was taking me like 30 minutes to get halfway done with. He defeated in like 2 minutes. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, we had the same thing with my uncle. He came in and helped us. And, I mean, we got through 5 campaign quests, like, within like 20 minutes. I mean, he was melting everything.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But, like, he was also, like...
He was way above us, though. It wasn't like there wasn't like a 5 level discrepancy. It was like 25 or 30 levels above us.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it was really funny though. Like we're like, that's it.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that was very cinematic. Yeah, fun.
I think they were attempting to kind of level the playing field, but I don't think they accomplished that.
Yeah, and it's just I think my biggest gripe with Diablo 4 is not the game itself, but any game that does like level scaling to your level, where like enemies match your level, I always find a little like not as satisfying. Because
too.
I love going to a new area or going like a back way and being like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet, and then finding, or even better, it's like getting in an area you're not supposed to be in, and then clearly you went to like a chest you weren't supposed to get to yet and got something, and you're like, oh, okay, that was cool.
It kind of gets rid of like that fun part of those type of games.
Yeah. And that's actually what like Elder Scrolls Oblivion does. Like that crab you hit at the very beginning of the game, it also still takes like 4 hits at like 100 hours in, because it scales with you. And so that's my biggest thing is just the scaling. I know it makes like the jumping co-op. I can see what you guys mean. If you're like 20 or 30 levels above, that makes sense. But it does make it easy for like a group that are within 10 levels of each other to still have a decent time,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of rough for me to like totally just be like, it shouldn't scale. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't recommend playing the campaign with anybody unless you are going to do it step by step together.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. And that's why probably I haven't gone further in, because me and Sam are just step by stepping it, which is fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely not like, oh my god, I can't not stop thinking about Diablo. It's not like doing the thing that like
it's not brain rotting.
Elden Ring. Yeah, it's not sitting with me, but when I am playing with it, I'm like, oh, I'm having a good time.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's good to get off work and like hop on with us and like just start gaming. That's a kind of fun kind of game it is.
It was perfect to do before the wedding, because I couldn't think. I couldn't dedicate any brain power to anything else, and that game is just like jump in, just hit your abilities, run through everything, and boom,
That's
I just do wish it was a little more difficult at times. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Diablo 4 is a good game, and probably going to be coming to Game Pass here pretty soon. All considering that the Activision Blizzard deal went through from the last time we talked.
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
yeah,
so that's actually happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
It actually happened.
Is it wrong for me to say I wish it didn't?
No. I agree. It's more complicated than that. I think I'd be more with you if it was anyone else, but I don't know. Getting Bobby Kotick away from that company and making them be able to make like another Tony Hawk again is not, that's the kind of stuff that I hope Xbox does. I don't know if they will, but they have so many franchises. They need it. I think
they should.
Need it.
But they have proven time and time again that they're just making all the wrong decisions.
Yeah. Well,
I need Phil Spencer to get out of that mindset of we give up, we're not winning this race, when it's like, no, you shouldn't necessarily have that. You should have the mindset of like, let's bring out what we have. Let's take all the tools at our disposal and take advantage of it. Like, dude, you're sitting on Tony Hawk. God damn.
Well,
I think that was all BS. That in my
Sure, but if they were to able to have that kind of tool at their disposal, shouldn't we use it? Like, isn't Guitar Hero under their like IP now?
True. They're never going to make plastic instruments.
Bring back Guitar Hero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's too early to know what Microsoft will do with Activision. But I feel like as far as Xbox goes, totally, this is a little off topic, but everyone's just going to hold their breath till Starfield. And if that goes super well, hopefully they can just make good decisions going forward. They really need Starfield to hit and give them some goodwill. But, cool. But yeah,
I do want to ask real
Diablo
quickly.
4. No, I'm kidding. What's up?
I do want to ask real quickly on just a small little like derail. Starfield had like a direct in between with 2 episodes, right? Like a whole direct. Did you see that, Troy?
I saw some of it. It was part of the showcase. Like it was the end of the showcase, and I did, and it looks really. That game looks really pretty good, impressive. I don't know if it's a game I'll sit down and play, considering the time commitment it seems like it wants, but I don't know. It seems cool.
I was just genuinely interested to see what you guys thought of Starfield and like
for free. I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. I hope it's as everything Bethesda fans want it to be.
Yeah.
BGS fans specifically.
Yeah.
So, and if it is, then that's a big deal. Like that's, it's going to be a big deal no matter what. That is probably the biggest game this holiday.
I'm just afraid that by its nature, it can't be what Bethesda fans want because of the kind of systematically generated. What is it called?
Like the randomly generated planet.
All that crap. What's so great about like Fallout and Skyrim is that you have this map that you're going to remember forever. All these locations and adventures you had, you know exactly where they happened, and if you wanted to go play it again, you could revisit those locations and experience those things again. But with Starfield, that's going to be more limited, I guess.
Yeah. I think they need to do is they need to oh, sorry. Go ahead, Victoria.
I was saying that's a fair point.
I think
it is.
Like, as a person who enjoys Fallout, like that's a good point.
I think they really need to bank, I think they're banking some of that stuff on there's been games that have gotten really big like Valheim and like a bunch of randomly generated like survival type stuff. If they can hit the main story beats, like if they can have a planet like Mass Effect, like the Citadel, like if you played Mass Effect, what the Citadel is, and that game has a bunch of weird, random, nothing in it planets, but you remember those core planets that the story took you through, So yeah. I think they just really need to hit on those planets that have like content you're supposed to hit,
True.
And the rest of cool stuff, if they can make cool stuff happen randomly, kind of like Red Dead's like, weird systems, Red Dead 2 specifically, I think it could get there, but who knows until it's out, and reviewed. And I'll be curious to see. Yeah, I'm with you.
I only have a Series S though, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing.
Oof. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be hitting. I think a lot of people are going to be like, I'm going to play this on my gaming laptop, and I'm like, you can sure try.
Yeah, I have the S too. I'm just gonna, do what I can with it.
Yeah. Even on my X, they're capping it, but whatever. As long as it's stable, that's the main thing. It doesn't seem like it needs to have it's not like a action game where it needs to hit 60,
Well, yeah.
But all right, cool. Josh, you have listed fighting games, plural.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I made a mistake, guys.
Go ahead.
With all the hype around like Street Fighter, the next Tekken, Project whatever from those MOBA people.
Riot Games, Valorant, League of Legends, they're bad.
Okay. With all the hype around the fighting games though, I was like, you know what? I like fighting games. I should get back into fighting games.
Interesting.
So I hopped onto Dragon Ball Fighter Z. And I was like, yeah, this is fun. I'm having fun. Played a little online, and I was like, I'm terrible at this.
Oh, back call, buddy. Oh.
And so I was like, okay, I'll try. Soul Calibur 6 was on sale, so was Mortal Kombat 11. I was like, I'll try this out. I played Mortal Kombat 9, I believe, on like the PS3. Loved it. So good. It had like Kratos and Freddy Krueger, weird characters as like guest characters and stuff. And I played Soul Calibur 4 on the 360. Had like Yoda, I think it was, and the Apprentice. I was like, oh my god, this is so freaking cool. And I love the story mode in Soul Calibur 4 and in Mortal Kombat. So I played through Soul Calibur 6's story mode, and it was just so boring. There was no content there. It was so bad. I think instead of having cutscenes, they just have like portraits come up, and it's really text heavy. Like there is voice acting, but it's like a book. Like they just won't stop talking, and like it'll go from like mission to mission, which is really funny. It'll be like mission 2 and then mission 3, and both of those are just talking, and you don't even get to fight anything. I was like, this is weird. So bad.
Did you about 11's story?
Yeah. So then I
hopped over. Cool.
I did enjoy that. Like it was very cinematic, just like the 9th game. And I skipped Mortal Kombat X, but I bought that one on sale afterwards. No, I'm gonna go back to that one.
Yeah. Did you finish 11? Like the story mode?
I finished 11. I did its
Nice.
DLC, so I'm ready if I want to go to Mortal Kombat 1, because that was really what I was most excited about was Mortal Kombat 1. But after playing all these fighting games, I feel like I might be burnt out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I tried online on all of them, and on Soul Calibur specifically, I got into this lobby with these guys that were just hanging out playing, and like my internet dipped a couple times, and like it got so laggy, and they just threw a fit and just harassed me until I left the lobby.
Oh my god.
And I was like, okay, I don't think I'm ever doing this again.
There are some fighting games that will show you if someone's connected wirelessly or wired.
Yep.
And
Street Fighter 6 is doing that.
That's how serious people are, like on competitive games where
It's
they see someone's playing wirelessly, they'll be like, nah.
Well, what's so funny is that I played ranked and it went fine, and I played with this one guy for like 20 matches straight, and we kept doing rematches, and it was going back and forth, and it was pretty fun. And then I went to the casual lobby, and that's whenever I got all the harassment. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to get a trophy to win 5 matches, and I couldn't even win one because my connection was so bad.
A great example of that is sorry, I want to talk about rank because I absolutely hate rank in any video game. I tried last week while I was off work, just play Valorant and aim train and like learn rank and watch all these videos. I tried it for a week, man. I absolutely got so burnt out that I stopped playing this game.
Dude, it made you upset.
It made me so.
I peeked in his room and he was just laying on his bed, just like staring at the ceiling. I was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I tried Valorant ranked."
I was silver for a good while, and then I de-ranked up. Okay, before I rant, I just want to say ranked gaming is no different from casual gaming, because casual gaming, everyone wants to be a little better. Everyone wants to have fun, but also wants to be better. So when you play Overwatch unranked and you go into competitive bronze or competitive unranked, where it's trying to like figure out what rank you actually are, you're gonna see no difference. No difference, because everyone's a sweat. Everyone's a sweat who likes to throw shade on you, who likes to just like I don't want to use this term. I'll say piggyback on their duo, whether it's like a weird couple or like just like some real like smurf who's really good at the game but just got a new account to play on lower ranks. I cannot express how much ranked makes the fun of video games so much worse that I had to go back to playing Last of Us Part 2. Do you know how bad that is, dude? Come on.
Well, you're making Last of Us sound bad by saying that.
It's depressing, Colton.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you were saying I had such a bad time. I
think actually Last of Us 2 is driving home the point for Izayah that people are the true villains.
Yes.
In the story.
Yes.
This is why you don't play online, Izayah. This is
why. This is why.
This is why you don't take anything you play online seriously. This is who you turn into. No, it's okay. I know it.
Monster.
A monster.
Yeah. All right. Let us move on here. Let's just sweep up some other stuff you guys have been playing. Colton, it looks like you have a couple more on the list here.
Yeah. So because I got the SSD thing for the PS5, I was just downloading a bunch of stuff, just like stuff that I've been kind of like wanting to, drop in for like a couple hours one night, but then I'm like, oh crap, I don't have it downloaded. I'll just go do something else. Well, I was able to download a bunch of ones that I know I kind of want to dip back into at some point in the next couple months, and I never really gave a whole lot of effort into trying the PS5 version of Cyberpunk. So I was like, oh, I'll just download it, and I have no intention of playing it like soon. But I mean, like 3 days after I downloaded it, I didn't really want to play anything that I had anything like new. So I was like, you know what? Let me start a new game. 'Cause I already started a new PS5 when they came out with a PS5 version of Cyberpunk. I already started one, and I got like maybe an hour in, and then I never touched it again. So I just started another one, and I think I'm like 10 hours in now, I think. No, maybe not 10, maybe like 7 or 8 hours in. And it is like wildly just substantially better than that original PS4 version that I played. It's just so much better. It runs better. It feels a whole lot better. Looks better. And I don't know if I'm gonna like play the whole thing. I just wanted to kind of get in, and I kind of had like a a little like RPG itch, so I thought I'd get that itch taken care of, and also like kind of actually see what the whole PS5 hype is about Cyberpunk. And then I'm also working my way through Mario and Rabbids. My goal is to finish it. I really want to finish it. I've just been distracted. But I played like a whole like world and a half of that game, and I was really enjoying my time with it.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me let you go ahead through. I remember you said first. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I just remember Mario and Rabbids having like a ridiculous difficulty spike at the end there, and that's when I stopped. It was probably like 2 or 3 worlds in.
Oh, well, the first one. Sorry, I meant to put the new Mario and Rabbids there.
Oh, this is the new one.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've been playing that new one. Yes, that first one does have a crazy spike. Never finished it. I got to the very last boss.
Because of that.
But that DLC for the first Mario and Rabbids, it's one of my favorite DLCs I've ever played.
Donkey Kong one?
I thought it was spectacular.
Cool.
That was cool. But yeah, I'm just playing the new one, just kind of.
I'm glad someone bought the new one.
I bought it.
Hey.
I want to touch on Cyberpunk PS5 real quick and talk about how the what's the team behind it? CD Projekt Red?
Yeah.
I am surprised how they really are committed to bringing it back and really trying to like come back with hitting the fences and like making a home run with this game.
That DLC looks cool.
Despite its ridiculous launch, that DLC is looking to be like a saving grace because it's reworking so many systems in this game that it feels like it's going to be brand new. I've been seeing some talk about it, and it seems really cool.
The more I play the version that I'm playing right now, the more I'm kind of thinking I should maybe stop because it sounds like a lot of the game is actually going to be changed for the better.
Yeah.
And I'm just having fun with it right now, so I'm not stopping myself, but I feel like at some point I probably should because I don't want to get like
super far.
I don't want to get like
and replay it
halfway or maybe all the way through the campaign and then the DLC drops and they're like now the whole game plays differently and then I'm going to feel like I feel like I just played the bad version then So I'm trying to. I have a turmoil in my head right now. I don't know if I should just stop and wait for that DLC to come or
we need to get Javi on when the DLC drops and he does play it because I need to get his input because he's played like through I think all of the original Cyberpunk and did enjoy his time with it.
And he picked up and he tried it with PS5 too. I remember him telling us that.
Yeah, at the wedding.
Well, no, I think our first. No.
He was maybe still playing the original release of Cyberpunk, PS4 to PS5.
Maybe it was at the wedding he talked about the PS5.
I think what's cool about like CD Projekt Red, what you said, them still working on it. Cyberpunk is maybe the only game that's taking advantage of the new graphics cards on PC too, because they put out that path traced version of Cyberpunk, and that thing looks freaking incredible.
Really?
You would need.
Heard about that.
Oh yeah, you should look up the path traced like Cyberpunk running on like a 4090. It's something like the PS5 is not going to be able to do. Even its ray traced version, like this is completely path traced and it looks like unreal. So they're like the only ones supporting even like the highest end graphics cards right now, where everyone else is just kind of still targeting like console specs, and then like you can play at a better frame rate or more resolution, but. Yeah, so I've turned around again on CD Projekt Red. It looks like they're going the right direction.
I agree.
The original release of Cyberpunk rubbed me the very wrong way. I was one of the people that got refunded that original game. I was like, dude, I cannot. I think the funnest I had was I found out if on the freeways in the game, if you rode up on the divider, it would like multiply your speed like by like multiples, so it would like rubber band you off and shoot you like 100 miles an hour off the bridge. It's very
really
funny. Yeah.
Might go try that right now.
Yeah, they probably fixed it like forever ago.
Oh, don't say that.
That was like my one thing I did like 5 times. I was like, oh man, that's hilarious. That's fun.
Oh,
but what's up?
No, that's a big conversation. Never mind. Let's stay on task here. Let's go.
Okay. So we will get to Final Fantasy 16. By the way, that's what we're heading up towards. But before we do that, Izayah did Dead Space.
So I just want to say and preface this by saying everything that Josh said in his original review of this game is spot on. The sound design is spectacular. The progression of like getting guns and going through the story never feels like dull or like there's like white space in between. It is always back to back, like fun, interesting, and like new ways to go about like mechanics. Like and it is like just an incredible like remake. I am so fascinated how this one ship, the Ishimura ship, has so much lore and just world building behind it. They're just text logs, even from like the very beginning of Isaac Clarke's introduction and like his background with his family, his mom being part of this like Unitology religion, how it messed with her head, and how it inevitably led up to like killing like herself and the dad before the events of the game started, and like even how like Isaac's lover that's like shown in the very beginning of the game just like
don't go too far.
I won't go too far. I just want to say like
all right,
everything's connected in some capacity, and it's super well done in a way that feels digestible, and I don't feel overwhelmed from just reading these logs. I know what's happening. The cast is small enough to where you're able to keep track of everything. Yeah. But like the performances themselves are always convincing in a way it's like, dang, like they want to get off the ship. They want to like really prioritize each other's safety. Like this turned from a rescue mission to get the hell off the ship. Like there's no hope. There's no saving. We need to leave. Like the story is there, but the gameplay is so addicting. When I first went through my first playthrough of the game, I went on medium difficulty, which already felt challenging. You have to really like take care of your resources with like your ammo. You can't just willy-nilly shoot. It is about like shooting the limbs and being kind of like tactical with it, because you want to be quick. They can run at you. They can like sometimes throw projectiles at you. Often they can just leap at you. Worst case scenario, you're cornered, so you have to like think on your feet. And that's like the fun of like the guns, because you get like pretty much all the guns halfway through the game. So you have plenty of time to experiment, mix and match, and find your own play style. My personal favorite, gravity gun, where it like sucks in all the enemies. Then you get your saw blade and you just go like all the limbs off while they're all like bunched up together. It's like a meatball for yourself. It's fun, and it never stops like ever like getting old. In fact, I feel like by the 12-hour like ending mark of playtime, you're like, I'm satisfied. I think I'm happy with my experience with the game, and like I've done everything I need to do to experience like the gameplay itself. But I enjoyed everything this game brought to me and more. So much so that I did a second playthrough on easy mode and just blasted through it, got the secret ending, got these little secret achievements, and just took my time to really appreciate the lore, the world, everything it brought to me. I really recommend people to play Dead Space Remake, but I also want to take a moment to really like thank the team. This team is really talented. Some of these people worked on the original game, and I have to ask y'all, remake the second game, please. This is such an incredible experience, and I want. Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say no. I really hope they do too, because
oh my god,
Dead Space 2, like as good as the original Dead Space is, Dead Space 2 is an even better game. I want almost every aspect.
Yes,
there are a lot of fun narrative twists in the original Dead Space, which I think still hold up today. That game is a looker. That the remake, it's a really good looking game.
Oh yeah.
But Dead Space.
Absolutely.
If you haven't played or bought that remake, I definitely recommend it.
It's going on our list. It's going on my list.
I can play it now since I can fit it on the PS5.
Yes, I know. Take it. I'm bringing you the copy.
I'm do it right now.
He's doing it right now.
Gosh.
No, Dead Space, awesome. Cool. I'm glad you liked it, Izayah, because it's a classic. It's a remake of a classic. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Speaking of, well, maybe not a classic yet, but a classic series, Final Fantasy 16.
I want you to start off. I'm a little behind you, but I want, because you're farther. You're like 16 hours in?
Yeah, I think I'm about 19 hours in now into Final Fantasy 16. My experience has been interesting because I did not play it the month it came out, but I've talked to a lot of people that did, and heard a lot of coverage, whether it be like Kind of Funny or Nextland or all, just a bunch of podcasts, different takes on it, all this other stuff. And so I was pretty primed on like what to expect, like where maybe its shortcomings are, what I should be looking for, and like what I want. And from what I heard, I'm like, oh, well, you know what? I might have been originally disappointed that the RPG elements and like the party system isn't as robust as you would expect like a Final Fantasy to be, or like even like a JRPG to be. But coming in, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to be expecting, and I think I'm okay with that. And so playing it, I think, well, just like the because you can play the demo and it's the entire first chapter of the game. Like it's the first 2 or 3 hours of that game. And your progress goes forward and everything. So even if you're not, I'd play the demo, even though that the rest of the game is not going to be like gameplay wise, it really is not showing its hand, till you're out of that, demo area. But, from what I've seen, like I think all the acting is very grounded in a way that's different from like most JRPGs. It's not, in some ways, like the writing and the characterization isn't very anime in a way you would expect.
Right,
like,
and that's the best part about it too.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a very different take on not just Final Fantasy, but what you think of as a like a Japanese RPG.
Yeah.
Obviously, they take a lot from Game of Thrones. Like to the point where you can like match like, oh, this is like the Snow character. Oh, this is like the Queen and her son. Like, there's a lot of like almost one-to-one characters, but I don't think it takes away from it. It's just like, oh, I can see the inspiration there, but they're still doing enough like different enough to make it Final Fantasy that I'm enjoying it. I would say that like, the biggest thing I heard about this game before I played it was, hey, like the lows are, like pretty like the highs are maybe like the craziest thing you've ever seen in a video game, like budget wise, and like just what's happening on screen is insane,
and it's real, like it feels tangible, and like you feel like you're in control.
I mean, just the fact that it's not like none of it's all of it's in real time, like
right, exactly,
like the control you have over those scenes, which is weird because the very first big icon like monster kaiju fight, it felt a little on rails. So during the demo, you're just like, oh man, are these all these are going to be? Because Bayonetta had a lot of that, like Bayonetta 3 specifically. And those were the moments you're like, those are cool, but, it's not like I had a ton of control. You know what I mean?
Right. I was just there for like the movie of it,
But it later, like the next 2 fights that you have where, the camera pans out and you're fighting like these huge beasts, you have like almost complete control over your character. There's just insane stuff happening. It is kind of incredible. The game, like in those moments, like the cutscenes, the game looks absolutely like incredible. It is crazy how good this game can look in parts, and you have to catch it in certain instances because you look at it and you're like, that looks okay, but I can see what they mean. Like they have those really high moments, and you just have to be okay with like, okay, there's going to be a lot of like story sequences, like a good amount of like talking, exposition. But if you come in and being like, oh, I'm still enjoying those parts too. Like I enjoy going to the little towns. Like all the little towns are really well built. They have nice music behind them, so I'm enjoying it. I think the pace, I could see why maybe they would want the pace to tightened up a little bit more. I can see that, being a problem, especially later in the game where you're like, okay, I'm ready to finish this game. But for now, I'm enjoying that. But yeah, I will say, past the demo, there's the first time you are gonna have like like this big icon fight. What are they called again? Ding. I'm using the FF14 turn.
No, honestly, keep calling it icon fight because I don't even know what to call it better than that, honestly. So just keep with that.
I for some reason I'm forgetting what dominance. Yes.
Dominance.
Yes. What the dominance are called.
Summons, those are the big summons. Whatever. Yeah.
People. It's very Attack on Titan is what it is. But yeah, there's characters in there that are dominants that turn into like kaijus, and you're building up. The build up to that first like dominant fight, kaiju fight, is one of the most like epic build-ups I've ever seen in a game.
Yes.
And it's like the game's not even like 10 hours in, and I'm like, oh my god, like what?
Yep.
Like I don't mean to keep ragging on Ragnarok, but one of my biggest complaints was I thought that ending fight was just kind of like, man, like this kind of just seems like smoke and mirrors. Like I don't feel like I'm taking place in this big battle.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like that, like, you know, I feel like it just being funneled and stuff is happening. And this like build up to this fight, like I won't say what you're fighting or whatever, but like the nature of the beast power, like you're walking through, and like the structure of the ground is like breaking under you, like wind is whipping. It's like whoa, this is like the music is super swelling. I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Yoshi P really did he was very serious about how when fans asked about porting it to other consoles and like stuff like that, he was really serious about like pushing the PS5 to its limits with like what it could do. And like this game with these boss fights, what you're able to do with them is pretty impressive, to the point where like, yeah, this feels like a PS5 game. Ironically, it was just announced for Xbox, I think, as of today.
No, that's FF14.
Really? That's even crazier. That's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy.
16 and 7 seem pretty locked on PlayStation. But
still, my point still stands. How impressive this game, through its spectacle, through its gameplay. Like you really do get time to chew on these dominants at first minuscule. At a first minuscule level, where it's like Shadow of the Colossus, almost like that style, where a little man versus big man, you know. Then it gives you that taste of it's god on god combat. Let's get going. Like it is fun. It is impressive. Oh my god, I'm gushing already. It's so cool.
I'm a little out of order. Like I what makes all the cutscenes and stuff super, even if it's not like a big action cutscene, which those are obviously very awesome, but even scenes where like characters and side characters are interacting with each other, like it's super well written. Yeah. The main thrusts of the story are very like complicated and interesting, and they even have, if you hold the touchpad, it gives you a primer on what they're talking about and who's in the scene, and you can read up like a codex that keeps like updating itself.
Nice. Yeah,
or it gives you it's not like a lineup, like a big bar of text. It gives you a little paragraph, and when something else happens in the story, it updates it. So I'm always like, whenever they mention like a new territory, or like this army's coming or this dominant or whatever, I'll be like, oh, what's this term? And hold it, and you can read about it and be like, okay, I feel like I have a grasp on what's actually happening. It's not,
and it doesn't stop there. Like it's pretty linear, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty linear.
It's pretty linear. So yeah, it's not open world. There's like zones,
right? FF10 style.
Yeah, FF10 styles where you can, at certain points of the game, you can go back to like any zone and like wrap up missions. There's like hunts that you can do, like stuff like that, like regular RPG stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. The combat is it takes a while to open up, but I think it's really satisfying.
Right.
There's a lot of like ability. So you have like a core set of abilities and like moves you can do, which are like pretty standard, you know, character action stuff. But you can set like abilities on buttons, kind of like in Diablo, where you have like if you had a standard attack, you can like hit abilities. And some of those, my favorite one of those are, a lot of them are counters. Where like, hey, an enemy attacks you, you hit this, you dodge and do a counter, and those feel really satisfying to do. And staggering an enemy, the way it works is most enemies have a stagger bar, and once you get that stagger bar down to 0, they kind of have a cooldown period where the enemy's down, and you can just like wail on them and like smash abilities into them, and it gives you like damage multipliers, and that doesn't stop feeling really satisfying.
What's really cool is that this game had a lot of help with its development. So Platinum was like one of the companies that like obviously lent a hand with its combat and like its design. So you can really see that as you get further in the game, you obviously unlock more abilities, and you're able to do a Devil May Cry switch, DMC5 switch, where it's like, okay, I have this specific dominance ability on me right now. boom, switch to a different dominant. Now I have their abilities going. It's instant and it's fluid. Where mid combo, you can just decide to go up. So you could just decide to like mix match your combos in any way you see fit. And that is why when you do go through those zones of like just exploring the world before you go to like the next story event, I always take the time to cook. I always take the time to practice my combos around the little enemies around and always have fun for it. Like it's a lust for like looking for like battles just so I can mix around the combat. It's so fun. I really praise so far from what I'm playing, like just the combat itself and how other companies really pitched in, and I feel like it shows with its mechanics.
Yeah, and I will say like for the thing people are raving about, like think of that Kronos fight in God of War 3 specifically. You know, like think of that, and what if they just like a game developer just like, oh man, yeah, let's one up that and make it look like amazing and really interactive.
Right.
It's a lot of that. And from what I've heard, like from people talking, you know, they're like, oh, I'm like 20 hours in here. And a lot of people are like, oh man, you haven't seen anything yet. And that's true. That's crazy. Because there was one fight like in the middle where like this like electronic music came on and I'm like, what is happening right now? It's crazy. It's a spectacle. And with like a lot of interesting side characters, like to keep the plot moving forward. Which I would say that's my one complaint character-wise. Is I think the main cast isn't always as interesting as like the villains and the side characters you're coming up against.
Right.
But they seem to sprinkle them enough in where it keeps it interesting. And I think Clive as a main character, he's not like the silent soldier like type. He's not like Cloud or Leon or Squall or whatever from 8. You know, he actually like does care, and he there's
a character on him. There's a legitimate like development.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of like it's cool. It's not like old Kratos where it's just like I'm angry and I want revenge. Like that's part of his story, but that's not always like the main driving force. So
well, can I just say like the casting choices, which is again, we talk about how like this game takes the cool parts and negative parts of anime and separates them completely. With a good example, it's casting having legitimately good voice actors. Like I'm so serious when I say, what's like the same guy from every Final Fantasy game that usually the airship? Sid.
Sid's voice actor is so freaking good.
So good, dude. Like that's a great example of why this game feels like a blockbuster rather than your typical JRPG. And that's like the best part. It takes the bad stuff, which is like bloated and like you feel like you're lost when you come back from a hiatus from the game. So, and that's like what the codex is for, right? That's why it's like linear. That's why you have good voice acting and a cast choices. This is a good game. So far what we played, of course, but like this is like really like gearing up to be a great game. Now, I'm always going to like touch on this more when like end of the year, like game top 10 stuff, like conversation comes about. But like so far, like I am planning on like playing more than just the main content. I'm interested to when it's world enough to where I'm gonna pursue the side content. And Troy, I have two questions for you. Like, what do you think?
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say this. As far as the side content, I'm skipping a lot of just the ho-hum side quests, and there's certain side quests that have a plus symbol, which means there's like ability or like like amount or upgrades, and so those are the ones I'm kind of focusing on because the side quests, they're well written, but gameplay wise and that they're not interesting. Yeah, they're like the stuff I would have skipped in FF14, So that's a downside. Is it's not like I wish they would have maybe just had like maybe 2 or 3 really well thought out written quests instead of all these little like fetch quests. And I think that's just the nature of the developer, But I'm with Izayah. I don't know if I'm gonna have a ton to say till I beat this game. Like you just know going in that like, hey, like you're probably gonna see some of like the craziest big budget like action sequences that you've seen in the game so far, and if that's something you're interested in, then I think you walk away from the game being like, yeah, that was awesome. just know that like, it's a little slow in between, and I have a feeling that maybe some of it is a little more padded out than it needs to be, because it's Final Fantasy. It has to be at least 40 to 60 hours.
Yeah.
So I feel like at the end of the day, I could see myself being like, man, it could have been like really tightened up to like a really crazy 20 to 30 hour single player like action adventure. You know what I mean? But yeah, and plus it has a really good dog. Torgal's really good. He's always with you. He can.
I love combos.
You can make
I love a good
Torgal.
dog.
Torgal is the way you don't have an air juggle where you have a move where you shoot people up in the air, unless you like put it have a dominant ability that does that. But if you press like your down pad, Torgal shoots people up in the air for you. So you can just shoot up to them, and that
it's so cool.
feels really nice. Yeah,
it always does, and it's so fun.
Those like cinematic like action boss scenes where your whole party member comes together and just freaking like pounds on it, and like Torgal's flying out of nowhere. It's really crazy.
It's so fun. And I just want to ask you before we move on. This is Final Fantasy 16. This is the 16th like entry in the mainline series.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So far I don't have all of like the elements that makes a Final Fantasy game like really stand out with its like unique premise, but I will say so far with the score, with its characters and like its story beats, I will say it's Final Fantasy. It does have that high fantasy like flavor and everything like that. And like its bosses like really complement like that with like its summons like Shiva, Bahamut, yada yada. These are set pieces. But I wouldn't say like a bad example of like a game having a long history of its series then to like give you something kind of like weird. Like Sonic Frontiers just has Sonic assets, but it doesn't look like a Sonic game. What is your stance with like Final Fantasy 16? Do you feel like this is just a cool AAA game, or do you feel like it's a Final Fantasy game so far?
See, that's an interesting question. I'm not saying this is a problem. I would say it's closer to being just a really high budget AAA like first party game than it is being like a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
But it takes like it almost is like one of those big AAA games like action like a Devil May Cry, like something like that, but thrown in like a lot of like Final Fantasy like mainstays over the top of it. Like, you're going to get like your crystal theme, you're going to get the main Final Fantasy theme, you're going to get like character like enemy types that you recognize, and
like it's typical
your chocobos
themes.
You're gonna get like you get that stuff sprinkled in, but it almost feels like they're like, well, this is a Final Fantasy game, it has to have a Moogle, or it's a Final Fantasy game, it has to have a Cactuar, like like these certain things. But at the end of the day, it almost feels more like, hey, like if Sony could have like just been like, hey, this is our new like this is our new Last of Us, our Last Horizon, like I could see them making another Final Fantasy like this, but it almost feels like it should have been its spin-off. But the thing is, it's good enough at what it's trying to do to be able to be called like Final Fantasy 16, like a mainline game. It would have made me this disservice to be like Final Fantasy spin-off.
Right.
There's way too much money, time, and like
call it a spin-off.
It's just too expensive. It has the budget of a mainline Final Fantasy game, and like, but as far as it like what you'd expect in it, it's pretty different. Like I could see diehard Final Fantasy fans that weren't paying attention to what this game was, coming in and being actually like a little thrown, because it's just not that. So I mean, if I were to like suggest this game to people, it would be like, hey, did you like God of War, like the reboot? Do you like those kind of like high action Bayonetta, Devil May Cry type games? Like I would say like give this a try. Or do you just like Sony first party games in general? If that's a yes, then it's just one of those. It's kind of like what I said about Resident Evil 4. It's just like, man, this is and that's the game to beat for me this year, by the way. I don't even know if Final Fantasy 16's reached that. Resident Evil 4 remake is like an incredible game. But yeah, it's just it feels like in that same caliber, and that's hard to do because obviously we've been talking about Xbox. Xbox hasn't made anything close to what Capcom and Square, what Final Fantasy 16 is doing. I won't say all of Square because most of Square stuff is a mess, but
Yeah, right now
this studio in general. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I will keep cracking away at it, and just know there's been multiple times where I'm like, Sam, like, look at this, because
yeah.
I mean, and for what I said about it not being a Final Fantasy game, I mean, I'll say, Sam, look at this, like, this castle, this structure I'm walking up to. Like, that's why I play Final Fantasy. It's like it's kind of the same reason I would enjoy a Star Wars thing. It's not necessarily that it has the deepest characters, or not that it can't, but I'm there kind of for the spectacle,
right?
Like the music, the imagery, and it does do that stuff. Like, you'll walk up to this like crystal structure that's like thousands of feet, and you're just like running up to it. Like, it has really epic, like grandiose visual stuff going on, which I just like really appreciate. It makes me feel like good to have a next gen console and a nice monitor, and just being like, man, like it's making everything fire on all cylinders, which is really cool.
Yeah, so, I like to follow up you up on that once we reach like the end of the year and you finish the game, because I want to see like what other elements of Final Fantasy will this have.
Yeah, I would say if you're unsure about Final Fantasy 16, I would say play that demo. That demo will tell you a lot on like if you'll like the storytelling, if the story and the characters will like.
That demo is still available, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Okay. 2 hours long. Like you get a nice clean intro into the game.
The thing it won't prepare you for, it won't prepare you how fun and deep that combat can get, it won't prepare you on like, they do have a dominant fight in that, but compared to some of the stuff I played 19 hours in, it's like, oh, that first one was nothing.
Like, it's an appetizer.
And I playing the demo, I was just like, ooh, wow, that's crazy. What's happening here? But dude, like. Yeah, like, and the most anime gets is like, at one point it will say like my favorite quote from the game is at one point it says press R3 and L3 to accept the truth. And I'm like, and it won't go forward till you do this, and I'm like, all right.
Press F to pay respects the sequel. Oh my god.
And then you press R3 and L3 and it goes off. So
it's so cool.
Those moments are very fun. I'm like, oh crap, that is ridiculous. All right.
It's not like a legitimate anime episode in like a 3-hour game. What was it called? Asura's Wrath? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Asura's Wrath, there's some of Asura's Wrath in that. Yes, absolutely. A lot better than Asura's Wrath, but yeah.
No, yeah.
It's Final Fantasy 16. I'm high on it. Would I want them to go the same direction in 17? Probably not, because that's kind of what Final Fantasy is to me. It's something new every time.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate Final Fantasy still does its thing, and I appreciate stuff like Dragon Quest really respects its roots and keeps like, refreshing itself, but it keeps a kind of similar feel and formula. But yeah,
it feels more conservative with Dragon Quest, but like Final Fantasy's always been like the experimental, like never in its comfort zone.
It is, yeah. It's always doing something new mechanically or visually or aesthetically. Like, yeah, it's cool. That's what I love about it. So
yeah.
All right. It looks like we got one more game on here.
Where?
Izayah.
Yeah. Baby, it's Hotline Miami, the GOAT. Oh my god. So can I just say quick story recap? It's about 3 days since I beat the game. My forearms are still sore. Because the game has a great feature, and it's one of the only feature that does this where it takes advantage of like that classic like Wii motion on the PS5 controller, where if you shake the controller, you can stop on someone's head. So every time I got someone, I just shook my body to kill someone.
I did not know it did that. I played it on the Vita.
So Hotline Miami is like Devolver Digital's like one of its like crowning like iconic like a top-down high octane action games where you're in this GTA-esque world. You wear a mask of any animal you like, and you just go out and kill. Like Super Hot, Katana Zero, those kind of games take a lot of inspiration from like that sort of like fluid combat of Hotline Miami, where you're thinking about when you enter this house and there's a guy next, like in front of this door in front of you, and how you're able to like just knock down that door and it pushes him back. How you can just grab his gun and start like lighting it up, or take a more tactical and you just spring his neck and you move on. This game likes to like compliment those who have a taste for aggression and just overall
Do
like
you have a taste for aggression?
my arms hurt. A taste for aggression and just like overall like lust for that kind of like nonstop. I use that word twice now.
I love this terminology.
like just like that hunger for like violence.
Hey, quick sidebar: a taste for aggression. That'd be kind of a cool video game.
Yeah, because like a super hot like itches that brain of you where you feel like you're John Wick. So Hotline Miami was the first to be John Wick in a video game, and it's kind of funny if you've seen Chapter 4. You see where like both the game and movie kind of meet up. I won't spoil, but it's cool. You have moments where you have to like map out. There's a guy in this room. They're behind these windows. I can't get into them because they're behind that window, but they can see me and I can see them. So I can be able to like take a quick peek and shoot them, and be careful with like either having a silencer or an actual AR, because if you have a silencer, it works out perfectly. It's a silent kill. Only the other guy next to him knows. No one else knows. Or if you want, again, be more aggressive, but be loud. So you can just pull out a shotgun or a AR from someone's body and light it up. Have them come at you. You stay in that corner. You have limited ammo, so you go, all right, 2 bullets here, 2 bullets here.
You definitely make death closets if you go loud, where you're hiding in a closet and there's like 50 dudes running in. You're just like making piles. It's yeah.
But, and it's funny because like it's a perfect blend of difficulty and I'll just put it that aesthetic. Yeah, it's enough to where you are not just blowing through the game, killing dudes for fun. You are still going about it with tactics and care, where you are mapping out your choices of this game, where you can, again, like knock down a door, hit a guy off, shoot the guy next to him, sprain a guy's neck, move on. All right, guys are coming. Get ready. 2, 1, 2, dead. All right, we're moving on. There are 2 guys in this room. You walk at that door, they kill you. There's a window there. You be aware. Like, I'm spinning rhymes, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm cooking. This game is just so perfect in the way that it challenges you, but also like satisfies you with that, again, like that taste for like high octane action. I love Hotline Miami. It is culturally significant, like these other games, like Dead Space, like Diablo, where developers love this kind of like design. And if you are cool with like that bizarre, funky, like synthwave, like aesthetic, you're gonna love this and Katana Zero. Unfortunately, I think what Katana Zero does better is that it has more tools, so you're able to like throw a smoke bomb and like get free kills for that, or you have more things to throw at enemies. So you're able.
I would say Katana Zero. I'd say Katana Zero is definitely more like a reactionary game, and Hotline Miami is more like, okay, how do I plan this all out? Like, you're gonna die. Like, one level you may die like 50 or 60 times, but with the one run you do it, you play it like John Wick. You know, like, like that is a good example where it's just like you know what's gonna happen. You have something thought out, and you just like execute, and like you just cleared an entire level and nothing touched you. You know, it makes you feel like that John Wick kind of thing, and that's something I think Katana Zero uses, like takes a lot of stuff aesthetically and even like mechanically and stuff. There is certain things, especially if you like a side-scrolling platformer more than you would like an overhead like a dual stick shooter. But thing I do like about Hotline Miami is it really does. It's like a trial and error game, but once you hit it, you're just like, oh man, like I am unstoppable. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say it definitely it taps into those feelings where it does taps into like the soul vibes, like a boss fight where you're like, okay, I've died enough, I've learned these patterns enough to where I just need to execute. And once you execute, you're like, oh man, that was perfect. One of the cooler moments I've had in a game. And I think Hotline Miami, what makes it really stand out is kind of like, too, Izayah, you notice this, is that it kind of makes you feel bad for what you're doing. It is like a big, like violent, like crazy feel rampage, but the level doesn't end. Every time it makes you walk through like the rooms where you just see like bodies and like everything you did sort of thing until you escape the level. So there's a lot of like cool thematic stuff going on.
There is, and it's really interesting to kind of dive into that more.
All the narrative stuff is like really off-putting and creepy, and it's like I said, Hotline Miami hits on like every level, like a game like that should. So
now the only reason why I would even want to touch the sequels is to get more of that taste of Hotline Miami. But as I said previously, this game is at its perfect length of like 6 hours max. Even with its epilogue, 6 hours max, where you could always come back and revisit to get more masks and get the secret ending. But beyond that, Hotline Miami is a perfect game to like just sit down, play, and then not feel like you have to touch it again. It's important, and it is, again, Devolver Digital is like one of their best games they ever had the idea of. Did they actually make it, or did they actually just publish it?
No. This is a developer. I think they're like Swedish. They only ever made 2 games. They only ever made Hotline Miami and Hotline Miami 2. So
that was their smartest game.
It's crazy. Published. But yeah, no. Hotline Miami 2 is one of those games that like to this day is still like being used as a template for like like aesthetics. Like, yeah, it is super influential. And it's still just like one of the, it's not like, oh man, yeah, that game started this, but now there's better games like it. I think it's like started like that synthwave, ultra violent, like indie game sort of vibe. That even like what's the samurai game where you do a lot of wall run? Well, no, the 3D one where you do like a lot of wall running and
Blade Runner.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Or Samurai
Ghost Runner.
Runner. Thank you.
Ghost Runner.
Yeah,
yes,
like
yes,
even
yes,
to
yes,
this
yes.
day, like you'll look at Ghost Runner and be like, okay, yeah, would this game be here without Hotline Miami aesthetically?
Right.
Maybe, but maybe not. Like it
Right.
still, like there's still games pulling from Hotline Miami to this day, and it's still one of the better ones doing it. So yeah, I'm glad you got to play it. It's good. It's a good Vita game. It was a great Vita game.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, someone died playing it in Last Part 2. It's perfect.
Yeah, you want to whip out that Vita, put a game in, play Hotline Miami.
But
that's
everything.
That's everything. You guys have any other things? What about besides games? Anything you guys want to talk about since it's been a while?
Actually,
head out of here.
I finished Legend of Korra, and we loved it. I wanted it.
That last season is really good.
Oh yeah, it finally like finds its footing of like consistent like subplots and main plots being like both in sync at all times. Because in season 2, I feel like it was very, very messy with how they did it until the very end, where it all somehow like whatever like moment of come to God it had like during the last moments of the show, it had it come back together in a really nice ribbon. Whereas like season 4, and I would say season 3 too, but like season 4, like just it really was like consistently like awesome. It was never like
Korra went through some stuff, man. I didn't.
Yeah.
I never knew like how much harder of a time she had than Aang did. I think like during her time.
They make that clear too.
I mean, I guess to be fair, we only go through like a year of Aang's life, and we go through like I don't know what it is, like 5 or 6 years during Korra, I guess. But man, she that's a good show. But she really, I think it makes sense, especially like that last season, that with how troubled she is, you know, being the Avatar and connecting to Avatar State and everything. I think it makes sense a little bit. But we really enjoyed the whole show.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I really did too.
It's a good show.
Did I give you guys the Blu-ray for that? Who did I give that to?
It wasn't us.
Oh, okay. I must have given it to someone.
I don't think it
before I moved.
It wasn't me.
It might have been my niece. Okay, sorry.
I did struggle with that last season with how much she was struggling.
Yeah, because she really was like nerfed.
I was like, all right, damn, get it on. Like, I was like, I feel like they nerfed her so freaking hard. I'm like, you're the freaking Avatar. Come on.
I think
do your thing.
I think it made it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. I do. Like, it makes sense. I do get it. But I mean, at some point, I was just like, okay, like, damn, like.
There were multiple moments where I was able to map out, hey, if Korra went to the Avatar state, she could do this during this scene right here, but then she doesn't, and then it kind of like plays on, and like it's not like it's to its detriment at all, but I will say the Avatar state is pretty strong to the point where like it really could have came in much earlier during like the last fight, with like the story. I don't know, man. It's cool. It's still cool. I loved it. Whatever. But yeah, I see what Victoria's talking about. She's not lying. Like she's cooking.
There's an Avatar game coming out? I just
found that
out like the other day. I was like, really? Are we getting achievement points again?
It does not look good. I'm sorry. It doesn't look good. I looked at that and I looked how the animations looked, and I was like, I'm not feeling it.
I'm excited for the future of the Avatar.
Yeah,
I am too.
Like all the new content.
Yeah, and I mean, I have no reason, or I have no reason. I have no way of like proving this, but from what I hear, everybody working on it like lives and breathes Avatar. Like they're all so dedicated on making like such a fleshed out, and they have so many stories they want to tell. And people who are actually like real fans of the show creating that much content, it makes me excited.
Yeah,
I hope I enjoy at least most of it.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. Oh, we just saw Oppenheimer. Everybody should go see Oppenheimer.
Yes, you should.
Oh, I didn't even tell you guys. I did the double feature. Me and Sam did
you
the
did?
double
I
feature
watched
today.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's expensive.
Okay, which one did you watch first?
Barbie first. Come on.
Okay, I think
I would have been dead afterwards.
Yeah, that was the correct choice, I think. I haven't even seen Barbie, but I just know that I would probably. Yeah. I loved Oppenheimer. I thought it was great.
Both are really worth seeing.
It's weird because I can brain rot about Spider-Verse all day, every day. But when I look at Oppenheimer, I'm so satisfied to the point where I just want to tell you to go watch it. Like I feel like you don't. Here, I'll explain like this. Oppenheimer and the way it's like formatted, the formula of it and how it goes, is it always feels like it's building up. It never stops. Never. And it's so quick. It's so snappy.
The way it was shot, I thought was really unique and cool.
Really well done.
I did notice like the way they when sometimes the movie will go black and white and stuff. They made it sometimes when you jump time periods around in a movie, it can get confusing,
Right,
like,
and that was the way
past, future, present. What is this? And the way they like presented all that stuff, so it wasn't confusing and pretty succinct. It was really impressive.
When they actually did sync up the time, they changed the filters as well, and that was so
cool.
Brilliant. Oh my god, this movie
and the freaking sound design and the music.
Oh
right.
yeah,
I mean, on another world, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. You definitely watch that. That is like a theater movie. You need like a kind of
if you loved Everything Everywhere All at Once, you will love Oppenheimer for that same experience.
Yeah,
please watch this.
The soundscape and stuff is really impressive.
I would say Spider-Verse is on a similar bar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all three of those movies have like wall of sound noises that you wouldn't be able to do without a really good theater system.
By the way, Toronto.
What's up?
I don't know if you noticed this, but Daniel Pemberton, the guy who did the soundtrack for Spider-Verse, most of the spiders, like Miles and Gwen, they have the jingle of like the original Spider-Man. Like specifically Gwen Stacy, like that little jingle from the first like Spider-Man like theme is in hers, and it's so cool.
I will say this is an older movie, but I saw like people on Reddit like saying like, hey, don't look up anything about this movie, just watch this. So it's on Hulu. It's called Palm Springs. It's like an Andy Samberg movie. Me and Sam watched it, and yeah, you guys should. If you're looking for a good movie, it's like a comedy. Palm Springs. Do the same thing I did. Don't look up anything about it. Like that'll kind of ruin its premise.
It's got Andy Samberg though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
I like Andy Samberg.
It's really funny. It's really good. Not in the same way like Hot Rod is. It's a way less slapstick. It's really like has a lot of heart. It's funny. It's good. Yeah.
If you want a soul crushing time, I recommend Swan Song for Apple TV.
Swan Song. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do. All right, guys. I think that'll do our episode. Any last things?
I hope I can homebrew a Wii.
Oh, I did not hear what you just said. No, I heard, I hope I can hump a Wii. I was like, well, whatever you want to do behind closed doors, I say it's up to you.
Well, if homebrew doesn't work.
I don't know what kind of homebrew you're cooking up, but
I downloaded the sex mod on the Wii.
Oh my god. Well, on that note,
the Wii shop is closed.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Oh god. All right, guys. I had fun. Thanks for catching up. We had a lot of games. And yeah, so we'll see you guys again. Bye.
I'll be
Bye.
dead. Bye.